Perfect.
Okay.
You're good to go now. Sorry.
Hey everybody, my name is Jim Farmer. I'm the festival director of Out on Film, Atlanta's LGBTQ Film Festival. I'm also an arts reporter for Georgia Voice. I'm really excited today to talk about the film Summertime. Summertime is opening very soon right now. It opens in Atlanta on July 16th. Over the course of a hot summer day in the city, the lives of 27 young adults in Los Angeles intersect in the vibrant new film Summertime. I am very excited to have two guests today. We have the producer and director, Carlos Lopez Estrada, and we have one of the poets involved with the film, Lee Blankenship. Carlos and Lee, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
This is such an amazing film. You know, I was watching it. It kind of reminded me of like a Robert Altman film.
It's weird. Sorry.
Just the characters coming and intersecting with each other.
Yeah, there's a few films that I think served as inspiration. Definitely, there's a lot of Altman in there, and also the movie Slacker, I think, had a lot of impact on how we put this together.
Okay. How did this film come up?
It all started, I think the beginning of the journey was about 2.5 years ago. I got invited to a spoken word showcase that Lee was a part of, as well as sort of like 26 other poets from the community. They all performed under this organization called Get Lit, that is based out of Koreatown here, and I was just so inspired and so invigorated by hearing about their stories, by listening to their poetry. So I came back a few days after and presented to the director of the organization this idea of trying to develop the poetry into some form of narrative. And we didn't really know exactly how it was going to take shape, what it was going to become. But that kickstarted this summer-long workshop where we worked for almost every day trying to put this movie together, trying to figure out how the poets wanted to adapt their work into scenes, into moments, and then how all of those could potentially speak to each other. So that's in a nutshell how the movie was born.
Okay, Lee, as one of those poets, how did you go about adapting this into a film and working with other different voices as well?
Mm-hmm. So all of us were together and we were talking about if there was a poem that we already had, we could include it, or if we wanted to write something new, then we could do that too. At the time, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to write about. I was really focused on how I was graduating high school and I was thinking about all these changes that were happening in my life. And so that was taking up a lot of focus in my mind. And it was similar to a friend of mine, Benet, and they were also kind of transitioning from their junior year and thinking of senior year and leaving soon. And so that's when we were talking and we were thinking about home and how that was something that was similar for the both of us and a similar experience. And then we just started writing about our home and the city that we grew up in and different parts of LA. And originally it was just these images that we wanted to include. And then there were similarities between our two homes, even though that they were in different parts of the city and our feelings were the same. And so we brought it together for a group poem.
Great. Lee, have you always lived in Los Angeles?
I have my whole life.
Okay, great. Carlos, how did you go about casting the film?
The casting process was surprisingly simple, and only because Get Lit had existed for such a long time, and all of the poets that ended up in the movie already belonged to this community. So the director of the organization essentially just we told her that we wanted to do this project, and she said, look, here are like our all-star poets, a group of 27 of them. Meet them and see if you feel like this is going to work. And I met them, and that is really the group of poets that ended up in the final movie. So it was, rather than us sort of like sitting in a room and trying to strategically cast people from different communities or different areas of the city, it was just really, here's a group of young artists who have been working together for a long time, who already have really strong connections to each other, and just trying to figure out what was the most interesting way to capture all of their relationships.
Okay. I was reading a review earlier that said that the film celebrates the diversity and cultural richness of Los Angeles, which I think is just a perfect. Can both of you talk about how this film really does showcase Los Angeles and the diversity of all this going on there?
Yeah, do you want to go first, Lee? Or?
Yeah, I can go first. Yeah, I feel like that it's crazy how much a city can change within just a few blocks in LA. And I mean, just from where I am near Beverly Hills and then going just to Melrose, like I would wear a completely different outfit for the two areas and it's just a totally different scene. And that's just kind of like a fashion aspect of it. There's so much art happening in the city and it brings in so many different people and so many different backgrounds. I'm surprised myself, like being native to LA, how many people aren't from LA, aren't born in LA, and that come to the city, and it brings so many stories. And yeah, you can see it just in like the troupe I'm a part of Get Lit. It's so many different young people that have so many different backgrounds. MJ, who's like in the story and talking about working at the restaurant, and then the same for so many other characters. And so it's really great to be exposed to so many of those different backgrounds and to really capture all of it just by the metro line, because it can change so much just within a train.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that the way that Get Lit operates is that they work with different high schools all throughout the district of LA, and they all sort of like come together in their headquarters. So you have people from West LA, you have people from the Valley, you have people from deep in the south of the district, and everywhere in between. And it's this beautiful intersection of people who are all pursuing poetry, all in the same age bracket, and have really as different backgrounds as can be. So I think we were really just more than anything exploring this world that already exists.
Okay. This film has a lot of queer characters, a lot of very positive portrayals of queer characters. Can both of you talk about why it was so important to have queer representation?
You want me to go first or secondly?
You can go first.
I'll go first. I think that something that I love about Summertime is that it gives a microphone to people from backgrounds who have been sort of like historically overlooked. And specifically when it comes to LA, I feel like the narratives and the angles that we've seen of this city are singular and very narrow. And the movie, just by virtue of being told through 27 different points of view, really tries to challenge that and really tries to give you like as much nuance as possible, and to sort of like help you see how something that a city that we've grown to, we think we understand so well because of all the portraits that have been painted about it, is really a lot more complex, and it's really a lot more interesting and flavorful than we've been led to believe. And I think that the only way of doing that is by showcasing like truly diverse perspectives. And I to me, having someone like Lee, having someone like Tyrus, being able to share what their reality is like in this city is so important. And hopefully people who see it will be able to understand the complexities of a city and the characters that live in it in a way that generates empathy, in a way that allows us to appreciate sort of like celebrate our differences rather than sort of like being afraid of them, which it just is, I think, like a dangerous way to see anything. Yeah. Lee, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, I feel like all my friends are gay. That's just what it is. And so, yeah, it wouldn't be an accurate portrayal of us, my friends, or the city if we weren't talking about being queer in LA. I feel like I usually just assume people are gay. It's like, that's it's fun. It's just what it is. And so that's what we wanted to bring. And we didn't want to be afraid to approach that. I feel like in a lot of mainstream media, it's easy to just give a portion of a marginalized group because it can be too complicated to explain like a whole picture. But no, like I am like a femme-bodied, queer, and Black person, and so that needs to be brought. And it's Summertime challenges other media to bring that as well.
I watched this film a couple of days ago in my office on my computer, and I enjoyed it. I can't imagine what it's like to see this film with an audience. I mean, Lee, what's it like to see? Have you had the chance to see this film in an audience, live with other people?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah, when we went to Sundance, it was in a theater, and I was feeling really, really nervous of how it was all going to be received, but it was really heartwarming and reassuring when crowds were like laughing at the lines and they thought like certain scenes were funny and were clapping at other portions of it. And just for my home to be seen in different parts of the States was something that like I never could have expected. And so it's really like an honor to see myself and to see all of my friends up on a movie screen. Like it's amazing.
Carlos, what was Sundance like?
Sundance was a gift, and it mostly just because I got to experience it through the eyes of the poets, and they had so much enthusiasm. Yeah, like that screening that Lee's talking about was the most electrifying thing I've ever sat through, just because their sense of community really shined through, and they were all there for each other, and they were all there cheering each other every time someone came on screen and reciting each other's lines. And it had that like slam energy where people are just there for you and have your back and want you to succeed. And I feel like for that reason, I'm so excited to see we're gonna see it in theaters on Thursday all together. I'm so excited for that, and I'm so excited for people to see it in groups, because I just think that the conversations that should hopefully be sparked by the movie, I think are important conversations. And I feel like even if someone responds or doesn't respond to the movie or to specific poems, having that conversation about why the story did or didn't work for you, I think are the kind of discussions that we should be having, because it's really about perspectives and intersectionality and empathy. And I'm just so happy to be putting this out in the world.
Congratulations. Did you shoot this pre-COVID or post-COVID?
We shot it in 2019, so okay. Way pre.
So I imagine the goal was to have it in theaters last year. You said to push it to this year?
Exactly, yeah. We're hoping to release it last summer. Did not, for all the reasons that you're well aware of. It was frustrating at the time, especially because it's such a wholesome movie and it's such an optimistic movie, and I just felt like it would have been such an important piece of like art to contribute to an otherwise really difficult year. But we decided to wait, and I'm honestly so glad that we did, because I think that the fact that people are going to be able to see it in theaters, the fact that people are going to be able to see it together, the fact that we're not quite there, but again, being able to sort of like have the level of intersectionality that the movie celebrates, I think it's special, and it's also really, it feels like a really meaningful way to start this new chapter of our lives, whatever it may be.
Exactly. I think I have time for one more question. What's next for both of you?
Lee, what's next for you? I also want to know what's next for you.
Well, right now I'm going to start going to UCLA as an English major. So I'm still working. Thank you. So I'm still working to get my bachelor's and graduate. I also am working at a writing agency. And so still doing writing projects, copy editing, working on like campaigns for other movies and things of the sort. I'm excited to see how the movie will be received after press and anything opportunities that come from that, I'm open to see too.
Great. Carlos?
For me, I'm very dedicated to the release of this movie and trying to get it out to, you know, as many people as possible. I started working at Disney 2 years ago, which has been, you know, very big shift for me, specifically while working on Summertime. It's just like the literal opposite experience with making a movie, and I've really enjoyed it. But I don't know, I think that Summertime has really started a new chapter for me as a creative person. So I'm curious to see where it leads and how putting it out into the world is going to allow me to continue exploring these kinds of projects, because it's really been the most rewarding creative experience of my life. So just happy to be able to share with people and have these conversations.
Congratulations to you both. The film is Summertime. It opens around the country in early July. It opens specifically in Atlanta, July 16th at the Midtown Arts Cinema. I'm sure you're all going to enjoy it. Carlos Lopez Estrada, Lee Blankenship, thanks so much for your time today, and congratulations on the film.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Jim.
Take care. Thanks a lot.